Welcome to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, mum, FIFO wife, MBA, coffee lover, survivor superfan, and creator of the email experience. In Easy Email Marketing, you'll benefit from my nearly 20 years experience, where I'll be teaching you all the tips, tricks, and insider info on how to create feel-good, non-spammy experiences for your subscribers. Let's get stuck in. Welcome back to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, and today it's all about getting motivated and actually doing your email marketing, because of course it's what I hear all the time. I just need to get motivated, or I just need to sit down and do it. If that sounds familiar, then this episode is for you. But we all know it's not quite as simple as that. And we also know motivation is not the same for everyone. So one thing about me is that I was obsessed with all things self-help. So I recall even from my tween years, I would raid my parents' bookshelves for any self-help, productivity, personality, money management, whatever it is. Self-help, self-improvement, I was loving it. My aunt was a Myers-Briggs administrator, so I was taking even those tests from an early age. I was always seeking how to be better, how to do better. I was thirsty for all of that knowledge. And while all of that knowledge that I built up over that time has definitely benefited me in many ways, it never really fixed the problem. Not that I would say there is a problem in the first place, but it just never really seemed to work for me. I always had potential. Don't you love that word? But for some reason, nothing changed. Sure, I'm an expert level planner. I can time block. I can do to-do lists. I can schedule everything. Oh, I'm a super organizer. But would the important things get done? Maybe. Sometimes. Depends. About 3 years ago, I got my ADHD diagnosis. So for all of those years, I had been searching for that one hack, that one trick, that one productivity or motivation secret that would change everything. And as it turns out, most of those tips were not designed for me and my brain. And since then, I've become a bit disgruntled, I would say, with that whole self-help, self-improvement world, because it didn't feel like it understood me. So I've only skimmed, at self-help books since then, really, and a lot of my interest has been lost. So unless someone specifically says, they understand neurodivergent brains or they are neurodivergent themselves, I kind of write it off a little bit. All of that to say, in my winding ADHD way, is I know what a heavy load the word motivation brings up, and I do think it is a little bit of a fallacy. So first, I did want to reassure you that this episode is not just about those same tips and things you hear all of the time that just make you feel guilty and shame that you still can't get it done. But we do all love a good hack. Especially neurodivergent people. So over those decades of learning and these last 3 years of relearning, and having worked with many different business owners in many, many different situations, there are a few big factors that I do know make all the difference in getting things done, and specifically your email marketing, because that's what we're here to talk about. That's what this podcast is all about. And this is whether you are motivated or not. So while we're talking about motivation, this episode has motivation in the title. Really, it's got nothing to do with that. Really, it's about that goal to actually get the thing done we want to do. And in this instance, I'm framing it all in the world of email marketing. And these are neurodivergent-friendly hacks, but the good news is they do also work for most normal brains too, but full permission, you know yourself better than I. If there's one of these that you're like, nah, I know that doesn't work for me, then that's fine. But hopefully, at least you will draw out a couple of really handy hacks or tips that will help you start to make progress towards those goals. as a bit of background, this is actually one of the biggest influences in how I have created the email experience membership. To me, the email experience is about helping you get things done and about eliminating the roadblocks and about just helping you achieve the things you need to achieve. So I'll be weaving in ways that I have constructed my membership to help you through these hacks. But you absolutely do not need the membership if you want to utilize them. So that's a little bit of a disclaimer. Okay, so let's get stuck in. I've got 7 get it done hacks for you. Number 1 is to know why you are doing the thing. This is all about how each part of your email marketing infrastructure helps you reach your goals. So it's one thing to be told that you need to create like a welcome series for your subscribers, but why? Or it's one thing to be told you need to be segmenting or you need to be analyzing the data. You need to be able to see how it benefits you and or your business. So how it saves you time, how it can help move your prospective client or customer to conversion, knowing why you are doing the thing you are doing. Also knowing why you're doing email marketing versus something else. So why are you choosing this channel? So this is all about knowing strategy. This is all about understanding how it works for you. And this is really where I get a lot of aha moments when I can really get into someone's system and say, and they realize that email marketing is more than just, those sales emails, that it can help them with their administration systems and their onboarding and their customer service and some of those other things that are going on. And now they can see, I can see why I'm doing this. I can see why I'm integrating in this person. I can see why I'm sending this email because it's saving me time, or it's meaning it's not an extra task I need to do. Or it helps me, it helps that customer. It plays this critical part in the sales process to reach my overarching goals. So you do need to know why you are doing the thing and not just the big picture, I'm doing it to increase sales, but why each individual element is important. And so that is why I talk a lot about why email marketing, etc. Number 2 is to break it down. ADHD brains, we very much get completely overwhelmed if we are given too much at a time to try to think about, because all of a sudden our brains are going off into a million different tangents. So the easiest, most simplest thing for us to do and to make it easier to take action is to break it down into manageable chunks where we can go focus in on doing one area at a time. So that is exactly why I created the 5 email experiences framework. So with email marketing, you can do a lot of stuff. That's why I love it. It is a bit of a playground for me, but there are millions of things you could be doing. The possibilities are endless, and I'm sure you have seen and maybe even taken a whole range of courses on all the different ways in which you can use email marketing to grow your business. But it's absolutely no good to be going and creating the world's biggest, most wonderful funnel if you don't even have your basics like authentication or your basic welcome email set up. It's so tempting to want to go and create the biggest, most amazing thing when we don't have those essentials in place. So in the 5 email experiences framework, I talk about the 5 email experiences you must create for your subscribers: the sign up, the welcome, the nurture, the sales, and the post-purchase experience. And within each of those, I have assigned levels: level 1, level 2, level 3. So we choose a focus experience. We go, okay, this is the biggest gap right now. And then we start at level 1 and we get that done. And we get level 1 done across the board. And then we move on to level 2, again, choosing where the priorities are. So based around, is sales a priority? Is systems a priority? Whatever it is for you. Then we break it down. So all of everything you can do with email marketing is broken down into that really easily understandable framework, so you will know exactly what you need to do next. So now you know why you're doing it, and we've broken it down. The next hack is to create routines. So this is all about when will you actually do it, because something that you haven't planned time to do will not get done. And this is also both the background work, so setting up those automations, those segments, doing those integrations, that process planning, etc., as well as, your regular campaigns. If you're sending out an email every single week, you've got to figure out, okay, when am I going to do that email? So there are a number of ways you can do this. Like there are things like habit stacking. So if you're already creating a social post once a week, it's easy to go, okay, as soon as I've done that, I'm going to create my email. And you can do that there. It could be, or that you're going to outsource it from that point of time. Or it could be that you just have a day of the week, that's the day I do all my marketing things, and that's where I will get it done. Now for me, it's a bit loose. So I like to plan for a week, not a day. And this helps me so that I can go with my brain on any given week. So basically what this means is if I plan for, say, 3 days a week worth of work, and they can be across various tasks, whether it's client work, whether it's creative work, whether it's working on a particular project, all those ongoing regular tasks. But I don't force myself to do anything on any certain day. Because I don't know about you, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, my brain is like, oh, yes, that is the task that my brain is thinking about. So I'm going to go with it. So I allow myself to have that loose sort of routine across the week, including buffer space for life interruptions, kid interruptions, etc. I also only allow calls to be booked on a couple of days. So I want to make sure that I've got a bare minimum 1 day a week where it is totally clear, as well as having like Friday as like a catch-up day if I need to, get just a few things cleared out and again, as a buffer time. So we create routines and we create space, but it doesn't have to be so strict that every minute of every day is planned. Unless that's your vibe, then go for it. Tip number 4 is novelty. Actually, both tips 4 and 5 are around creating novelty, because there's nothing we love more than making things interesting. So the first way to create novelty is in terms of your environment, changing your location. So if you are feeling like you are trying to force working on email marketing, maybe you just need to be in a different spot. So for me, sometimes I move to the couch and I put on something on the telly and it makes me feel like I'm relaxing. But before you know it, I'm actually doing the work and I haven't even paid attention to whatever I put on the telly. Maybe it's putting on some music. Maybe it's going to the library. Maybe it's putting, a certain smell for you, whatever it is. What is it that you can do to create novelty? Maybe it's having like a favorite snack. So, double it up with something fun for you that just makes it different. So if you are struggling and in a moment and you're like, oh, I really need to get this task done, create some novelty in terms of your environment and the location you are in. The 5th hack is creating novelty in the task. So we love our shiny objects. It's always fun to go to some new different tangent, new different project. For me at the moment, it's all AI, all that obsession. I love to get stuck into that, and it is a big distraction for me. So my advice here is to channel this into smaller novelties. So maybe channel this novelty and this fun and this creative energy that you are just bursting with into something like, okay, my subject lines. I'm going to play with my subject lines. Or finding like a really fun GIF to use. Or maybe it could be coming up with a creative way to get engagement, like people clicking or replying, etc. What are some little novel things you can do within that email? So not changing your whole offer suite, or not going, I'm going to do a whole new funnel instead. We don't want to do the big things. Let's channel it into that individual task on the day and make it fun. You don't have to just stick to a, strict routine there. Maybe it's doing a split test. Maybe it's going, okay, I'm going to segment my audience if I send it to this person or to that person. Or maybe it's playing with a new tool to create. Maybe you have a new prompt. So as long as you don't get sucked in to a vortex of spending an hour finding a GIF, as long as that email gets sent, as long as your other stuff gets done or whatever you wanted to achieve gets done, why not make it fun? Why not put some fun into that email? Put some fun into that automation and play with it that way. Hack number 6 is body doubling. So body doubling is all about being in an environment where you are stuck doing something because somebody else is doing it with you. So you hear a lot about this in terms of, things about like cleaning rooms for your kids. So sometimes it means if your kid is really struggling to tidy their room, maybe you just have to physically sit there in their room with them to clean it. It's the same thing with getting business tasks done, getting email marketing done, getting into a Zoom co-working room and having that time allocated to work on your email or any other business task, whatever situation you're in. But anytime you want to go in and go, you know what, this is my email marketing time, and you might put in a Zoom room with other people doing the same thing, and you say you're going to work on this thing, that is epic. Now, this is one of the key features of the email experience. We have at a minimum, three group consulting and co-working calls every month at all different time zones. And members absolutely love this. This is the biggest thing that they say makes a difference because they go in and they get it done. Sometimes it means they come into those calls and they ignore me most of the time and they just do things. Or it means also provides that opportunity that if there are any questions or they need feedback on something, I am there to eliminate those roadblocks during that time. But body doubling is one of the biggest hacks to actually getting things done. And then number 7 is to reduce obstacles. This is all about anticipating those roadblocks, and that's where also these consulting and co-working calls come in. So there are always going to be different roadblocks coming up. So number 1 is mindset. So people come saying, I'm worried that people find me annoying, that I'm going to be too salesy, etc. So that's where you just know you need to have a good community around you. Or you could combat that by, having a love file of testimonials and reviews from people that you go back to, or you look at the data. I've recorded a bunch of episodes about mindset and how to deal with that in the moment using practical strategies. So check those out if you want more guidance around that. The next thing is tech. Tech does play a huge part in email marketing, and I don't know whether you've had this experience, but sometimes it's not about you not having enough time or motivation to do email marketing. What I see happen is a lot of people come on, they go, yep, today is the day I'm going to set up this automation or this integration, and then they come in and then they get stuck on the first or second step because there's some tech thing that is just not working. Next thing you know, you're spending an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long, Googling and YouTubing and trying to figure out this one little tech thing that if it was fixed, then you could get on with everything else. So what happens here is, number 1, you get caught wasting all of this time trying to sort it out. But number 2 is you might not then get it done that day. And then what happens is you're like, okay, well, so now I need to find more time to do this task. But instantly, that's like the last thing you want to do because you are like, dreading that feeling of facing that tech task. So that is why, one of the core things of the email experience is having that tech support. I love that stuff. I love that tech, and I've seen it all. So something that might take you 3 hours to try to figure out might take me 2 minutes. And I can do that live with you on the consulting and co-working calls, or you can submit like help desk requests for those things. So these are mostly like those once-off little tech integrations or segmenting challenges or how to trigger off that automation or split that automation. Those couple of little things that to you, because you have never done it before, it just provides that, barrier. But for me, it's easy. So anticipate that, reduce the roadblocks, and anticipate text is going to be a problem and get the support in place. Another roadblock could be struggling to come up with ideas or, writing the actual content itself. So that's where I've got the AI tools. I've got those AI tools in the email experience where you can generate your ideas, where you can get your emails drafted up, at least to a point where you're like, oh, yes, I love that, and it can adapt it and get you unstuck, get you writing, get you flowing. So that is a big part of it. It's all about getting unstuck. So quick recap on the 7 hacks. 1, know why you are doing the thing. So how every part fits in the big picture. 2, break it down. Choose what email marketing tasks you are doing now, You do not have to do everything at once. Focus in at a time. Number 3, create space and routines. So when will you actually do it? But without necessarily saying it has to be like 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. Number 4 is to create novelty in your environment. Number 5 is to create novelty in the task, as long as it's not a whole rework and just working on something fun within the little thing. Number 6 is body doubling. And number 7 is to reduce your obstacles by anticipating the roadblocks. So coming up with a plan ahead of time for how you're going to deal with it. So take those hacks as you like. Go away, choose 1 or 2 that you might try to use to get your email marketing done. Or if you want my support, if you want to tackle those obstacles, have me at your back when it comes to your tech so I can solve those challenges. Have my AI resources library with my custom GPTs and different exercises to help you write those emails. Get access to my 5 email experiences framework, and also join me on like quarterly strategic planning workshops. So we have identified what you're doing and also talking about why you're doing it. Body double with me and your fellow members through the consulting and co-working calls. And also during those times, we talk your strategy a bit as well, and maybe some mindset. We talk through some of the things that come up. Have the opportunity to submit help desk requests, plus a whole range of other stuff. So doors are open right now, but they are closing on Friday and they won't be reopening again until next year. If you want to know more and want to join, make sure to head to yaelkeown.com/experience. Finally, just a final thought is to be kind to yourself. Time wasted beating yourself up doesn't do anyone any good. We all know there will be times life gets in the way. So I talked about roadblocks and anticipating things that come up. Life will get in the way sometimes. Things happen. That's how it is. But we need to allow ourselves not to get swept up in it and allow ourselves that compassion and that grace in those situations. But my perspective on this is, if at least we take into hand those things we can control, so there's things I spoke about, making sure that on a normal, good day, we're in flow, we don't have those roadblocks coming on, we know why we're doing the things, we know what we need to do, then it's so much easier to respond when the things that are outside of our control come up. And yes, sometimes that means a little bit of a break, and a bit of self-compassion, but it's much easier to get back into the flow because you know exactly what you're doing and you've got the support in place to do it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'd love to hear from you about what you've enjoyed from this episode or what you want to know more about in future episodes. Please let me know over on Instagram. I'm at yaelkeown, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Easy Email Marketing. It's an absolute honour that you chose to listen. If you love this episode, then it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review so that others can find this podcast and make their email marketing easy too. Finally, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. Until next time, have an awesome day and make sure to keep showing up and serving in those inboxes.